Hello and welcome to the video lecture on the database, the Oracle11g database management system environment. So since we have been talking about physical database design, at this point it's nice to take a look at an environment of an enterprise type system. So we're going to use Oracle since it is pretty much the industry standard. So we've got a database. Right at the top in the upper left, we've got our database. So there's our Oracle database. The database itself consists of, and it's funny they use an ERD to do this, but hey, it works. So the Oracle database consists of table spaces, right? So table spaces are associated with operating system files. So a particular table space can consist of multiple operating system files. Talked about that in one of the previous lectures. So we've got this table space that the database will look to access operating system files. An Oracle table space also consists of segments. So those are pieces of the table space. Segments can consist of data segments. They can be index segments. They can be temp segments. Segments consists of data extents, right? Otherwise, which you can look at those as pages that we spoke about in a previous video. And extents are made up of data blocks. And again, typical block sizes like 2 kilobytes, 4 kilobytes, something along those lines. When we get to extents, that's how much data is going to be read off of a disk at any given point. Every time we want to go to a disk, that's the minimum size of data that we're going to pull off of the disk. And then we have segments. And then if you're talking about Oracle table spaces, go back to the Oracle table space, you can set up types of table spaces. Predominantly, the database is made up of user data table spaces, right? All our students, all of our orders, all of our customers, all of our employees, all of the data that you keep track of, or that is, for all intents and purposes, your database is going to be in user data table spaces. The other kinds of table spaces are table spaces that have special uses within the Oracle database. So for instance, there are system table spaces that keep track of, how big are the user data table spaces. The security information is in the system table spaces. There's an undo table space that keeps track of undo information. So at some point, probably in the advanced class, you will learn about, going back in time, and the undo really has to do with recovery and backup and recovery. And then there's the temporary table space, and the temp table space, the temporary table space is primarily used for sorting. So when you say, I want to see all of my students sorted by last name in alphabetical order ascending, that type of operation is going to be done in the temporary table space. And that concludes my lecture, my video lecture on the Oracle11g environment. And now I hope you have a better idea of how it's set up and the terminology that we'll be using. And that ends that lecture.